Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. We really appreciate you being here this evening. We are going to probably wait just another minute or so, let folks join on. You will see that there is the option for you to send in chat messages. We certainly encourage that. And at the end of this session, we will have about a 10 or 15 minute question and answer session, and we would really love to hear from all of you. I know that some of you sent in some questions, and we're hoping to address those throughout the hour today. All right, let's get started. Thank you again. For all of you who have joined us today. We're looking forward to spending this hour with you. We really do want to hear from you, so be sure to use the chat questions. We want to make sure that we address any of the questions or concerns that you have. This is really all about you and what kinds of things that you're looking for in an employer. So it'll be about an hour of conversation today. We are not going to bore you with just a PowerPoint, although we're going to start off with one for just a short time. We didn't want it to be sort of a lecture series. You get today to have conversation with the people who are at the top of ProArch, including our CEO and our president. So we wanted to make sure that you were able to have this information directly from those who are running the company here at ProArch. And this is just a discussion between many of the members of this ProArch team. We really take pride in what we do and how we do it and the people that we do it with. So I hope that you enjoy this. So let's get started. I am Jean Morelli. I am the Chief Operating Officer at ProArch. And let's meet the rest of the team that's with you today. You will meet Santosh Kavedi, who is our Chief Executive Officer. He was also the founder of ProArch. You will meet Mike Spoont, our President, Brian Flanagan, who is our Chief People Officer. We also have Lakshman, who is our Chief Investment Officer and a client partner, Murray Foxcroft, who is a Chief Technology Officer for our data and app dev part of our business, Ben Wilcox, who is our Chief Technology Officer for the cloud and infrastructure and security offerings that we have. We also have Jasrit Singh, Vice President of our Microsoft Cloud Technology. We have Sai, who is our Service Delivery Manager here in India. We have Aaron, who is our Security Architect and Cybersecurity Operations Manager. Also with us today is Venkat, who we do not have a picture of up here, but he has joined us as part of our innovation team. We call ourselves ProArchians. We are a group of people who really want to innovate. We are constantly discovering new ways of doing things. What we say is that we want to be better every day. And that's what we want to deliver to our customers. We're always looking for what value we can bring to them. That's what we do as ProArchians. As far as our culture, we work very hard, but we take great pride in each other. We are a global organization, and we try very hard to share our values with one another and our cultures with one another. There's great diversity in our teams. It's a wide variety of roles that we have and backgrounds that we have, and we share that with each other. We really treat each other as equals. To that end, quite honestly, even Santosh sits in a cubicle because he wants to be with people. He wants to be talking, collaborating, and really getting inspiration from everyone around him. We are very much a hybrid workforce, so we do work at home, we do work in the office. We do try to strike that work-life balance. Everyone shares what they're doing, both in work and out of work. As a matter of fact, we even have on our Microsoft Teams channels, we have a gardening and farming channel because there's people who enjoy doing that, and we want to make sure that people feel very comfortable with one another and strike those kinds of relationships. We are constantly looking for new product ideas. We want to get feedback from both each other and also from our customers and our vendors so that we can improve the way that we do things. So we want to inspire each other, and we want to use technology to then deploy the innovation. We really do have fun. It's often said around the organization that we work hard and we play hard. So in that vein, we also have employee programs. We want to recognize hard work. And so we have an employee rewards and recognition program where anyone in the company can submit that and say, this person has done a great job. And we give out awards at the end of every month. It's important that everyone around us really understands that what they do for the company is well received and appreciated. We are constantly developing our people in their career. So everyone has aspirations, and we hope that you do too. And we want to encourage you to get to where you envision yourself. And so what we do is we make sure that we put down a career plan and a career progression, and that might be training in the role that you're in, or it may be training to get to a role that you want to be in, but we want to help you get there. So you will have mentors, you will have a training plan, both our people team and our line managers help with that. And then for those that want to continue on for technical certifications, those are absolutely encouraged. We provide training for those, we provide the testing for those, and we celebrate those. We're always recognizing the folks who are getting those new technical certifications. We have a full complement of available positions here at ProArch, and there's always new ones coming on. So you can see all of the roles in the application development and the data in AI. We're constantly looking for data engineers, data scientists, folks who have great talent in Power BI, visualization, and then we have a whole host of cloud and IT and security roles as well. And as well as in sales and project management. That's important to note. Not all of our roles are listed here, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that there's quite a few out there that we're looking for all the time. Really what we do is we listen closely, we understand deeply, and we solve strategically. What's important to know about that is that that goes for how we deal with our customers and how we deal with our employees. It's super important for us to take everyone's input. And you'll see that we have locations around the world. We have 3 offices in the US, 1 in the UK, and 2 here in India. And finally, just to give you a little idea about all 4 of the pillars of our organization, we do have a cybersecurity and compliance business. We have our cloud and infrastructure business. We are a Microsoft Gold partner, so many of our solutions are built on Azure. We have data analytics and AI. We have software development. And our teams work collaboratively across these pillars because oftentimes we're delivering solutions to customers that pertain to all of these. And finally, we do have the ProArch promise. We want to support our employees in both your current and any future endeavors that you have. We want to make sure that our people are cared for, so they have the right opportunities within the organization or outside of the organization. We want to make sure we have the right compensation and benefit packages. And we want to make sure that the industry experts are looking at ProArch as the experts. They look to us, and we then provide solutions both for them and for our customers. We want all of you to have great career success. So let's get on to our program. I do hope that you find this really informative today. There will be 4 segments. The first one is tech. We'll have the organization, the roles, and the innovation. So let's get started. We're first going to speak to Lakshman, Ben, and Murray. So all of them have varied backgrounds. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'll bring them right up on the screen so we can have a visual as we talk today. So with the 3 of you having these very different technical backgrounds, how are you and the tech teams using technologies to address client requirements?
It's a good question, Jean. I think that there's 2 main things that we try to do here. So when it comes to most of our services, we're trying to deliver business value of that. And what that means is that we want solutions, technology solutions that help drive the organization's or our customers' business. And that's by adding either value to their clients themselves, by adding ways to make the business more agile and be responsive to their customers, or to better serve their customers in different manners. So that's definitely true when it comes to the app dev practices that we do, the data and AI. They're really meant to help add that value to the customers, which make the business more successful. And when it comes to security, there's a slightly different side of it, but there's still a value proposition there. The security side, we're looking to protect, detect, and respond, and making sure that their businesses are compliant with whatever requirements that they have from a regulatory perspective. So those protect, detect, and response things, we end up using technology to understand what the risks are within their environments, and then deliver compensating services or technology to help mitigate those risks. And then there's the actionable response side. So when a threat is actually inside the environment, we want to take an action and make sure that we stop those threats.
Thanks, Ben.
A great question, Jane. To add to Ben, at the heart of everything that we do is we try and solve the business problem. I come from custom software development and data, a little bit of AI as well. So when it comes to how and how the tech teams are going to use technologies to address problems, there are certain general practices and principles that we follow. It makes it much more easier working with customers to deliver the output. And in general, that defines the tech culture within the team. At the get-go, we would like to have some kind of automation. It makes it much more easier. We like to choose cloud for any new work that we do. Majority of the work that we currently do is in cloud. And Agile is in pretty much everything that we do. I'm sure you all know about Agile. We live and breathe Agile. The DevOps, continuous integration, continuous delivery is something that is kind of very much baked into everything that we do. And scripting, which goes with automation. Our go-to choice is Python, followed by PowerShell and Bash. So doing all of this, we kind of have this culture that defines our ways of working, especially when we are trying to address any requirements. So yeah, we have certain other practices like code review. Everything that gets checked in goes through code review that has continuous improvement within the programmers and the developers as we are continuing to mature the product. So there's always sprint over sprint. There is a continuous improvement as well. That's that. Hopefully that answers your question.
It does. Thanks. Murray, how about you? Anything to add?
Yeah, I think on top of what my colleagues have offered, I think and to some of your points, Prague's very diverse. So I'm a South African living in the United Kingdom. Ben's from the States. Lakshman is from India and educated. So it's fantastic to be in a multicultural environment because we learn a lot from each other from that perspective. And so when you're starting out a career moving into tech, there's just so many different places and so many roles to get involved in. 20 years ago, 25 years ago, when I got involved, there was very little choice. You're a developer or you're a project manager, and that was about it. But now through data science, AI, analytics, even within that, there's different disciplines, different cognitive services, and different levels of involvement. Some people go into it to understand just how to use technology. So from a consumer perspective, you might want to use an AI service. Other people might be more interested in some of the deeper details around that, like how to build and offer your own AI service out into the open world. So it is super diverse and super complicated. So as we start to build out solutions for customers, what we really need to do is try and figure out what are the right set of all these components to pull together. And in doing that, if it's a web project or a data project, and even in the security space, there's 50, 100, 1,000 different combinations of gluing technologies together to reach a solution. So we need to be very collaborative and make sure that we all work with the customer to try and solve their problem as efficiently as possible. And we take that and we try and learn from those lessons. We try and create templates to speak to what Lutchman said around how we deploy stuff, what standard architectures we can reuse, and how we make it easier, quicker, and faster for our customers to achieve business value. So what we always need to keep in mind is that we're technologists. We just love getting sucked in and soaked in the technology, and our customers are unfortunately probably less concerned about the nuts and bolts of the technology and really concentrating on the value they want to receive. Whether it's a new public website or if it's an AI to do predictive maintenance, they're really interested in getting the results and less so in the process. So we have to find a balance to try and make all these pieces come together, all the different skills and roles to be really effective. And that's what kind of some of the senior leadership do, Ben, Laksh, and myself. We've got the experience to be able to pull teams together and technology together to go in and deliver that solution for a customer.
Maria, it's really interesting that you say that, because I think one of the most fun things that we do in our business is we learn about other businesses, right? And they're across all kinds of different verticals. It could be any kind of a business. It could be healthcare. It could be financial. It could be manufacturing, and it could be an industry that you didn't even know it existed, right? It could be in the energy sector. So we go in and we're very consultative in what we do. But how then do you all bring all of the technical pieces together and work together to deliver that solution? So we have, the cloud infrastructure and the security teams, and we have the data in AI and app dev, and we have projects where it spans across the entire thing. So how do we bring all that together?
Yes, so ProArch's actually a fascinating company in that respect. Roughly 300 people, give or take a few. And organizations you normally find are specialists. They're either do just cybersecurity, or they just do app dev, or they just do data and analytics, or they just do infrastructure. And for our size, ProArch covers all of those remits. So kind of end-to-end partner into the cloud is really what we are. And that allows us to innovate in areas that a lot of our competitors of the same size can't. I've worked in data-driven organizations before, and in order to facilitate producing business intelligence and analytics, they needed to build some web real estate, capture forms, customer interaction, a bit of business process, and data-shaped organizations just don't know how to do that. So they've got to go out and try and partner or find other resources. And then they're not only crossing an organizational boundary, but also across company to someone else, both commercially, legally, and in terms of delivering execution. So by ProArch having all of those components together, we're able to kind of craft those solutions much more quickly and effectively amongst ourselves. We do have a couple of layers within the organization. We've got an executive team at the top, which then kind of feeds into a leadership team, and that's where all the high-level collaboration happens. And then underneath that, as Jean said, the organization flattens out very quickly. But what we do is we sit and we have discussions. We work with the sales pipeline as much as we would, as much as we do try and build products and accelerators that we take to market. We always have customers coming to us with weird and wonderful ideas and solutions, all the way from big corporates looking for niche point solutions down to startups trying to understand how we can help them structure their business for success and provide the technology for that. So inside of our CTO office, we've got some very senior technical people, some senior business process delivery focused people, Ben and myself, and then we pull in others as necessary to collaborate around whatever the customer's need is. And a great example of that at the moment is modernization. So customers are coming to us and saying, we've got 20-year-old technology. We think it might be a bit out of date. can you help us? And we go in and do an assessment. We figure out where the pain points are, what's end of life, what's out of date. And then in order to provide a modernized solution, you need to have some sort of infrastructure. You need to move from maybe on-premise to the cloud. You need to make sure it's secure, and you need to make sure that you use solid, sound development processes to deploy your data solutions and your custom app dev. And that kind of touches everything, and that's where we're really strong.
Yeah, we have some pretty amazing people in the organization, super smart and dedicated, focused folks. We're really lucky to have them all.
That's
so,
Ben.
Ben in a nutshell, right? When you're offering a solution to a client, how do you decide what technologies you're going to use to do that?
So we start with the problem statement, Gene, meaning one of the toughest thing, as much as it seems obvious, often is try and define the problem statement. I myself have been working with a particular client, one of the big clients, management consulting firms here in US. And we are trying to define the problem statement for almost 2 weeks. So that's where we start with, and we work backwards. When I say work backwards, we try and identify the technology that suits their requirement. For example, their IT team may be leaning towards using PySpark, but there are already better technologies out there that are very well managed that you can just go hit the rubber running at the get-go. So we go with this 3-leg stool kind of philosophy. You have speed, time, cost, or the quality. Obviously, we want quality. That's something that we do not want to compromise, because at the end of the day, delivering a poor quality product is not going to go well with anyone. Speed and cost is when we try to kind of play different levers to choose the different technologies. We just don't want to squeeze in something just because we have competency or someone is comfortable. That includes even on the customer side, and that's where there'll be a lot of discussions. And we talk, like Maria said, we have a couple of layers. We are not hierarchical organization, but we talk amongst the exec team. We know what everyone else is doing at the next operating management level. We know what everyone is doing, and if there is a requirement, let's say if there is a security hardening to be done, I would be the first one to reach out to Ben to pick his brain, because at the end of the day, we want to add value to the customer. And the beauty of ProArch is we cut across all of these 4 key pillars, is what we call, that usually handles the majority of the digital stuff, whether you call it modernization, transformation, however you call it. If you are trying to build a product or improving a product, or trying to do enhancements to the product, it usually cuts across all of these 4 areas. So that's when we talk a lot. We use our partners. We are very good partners with Microsoft. We are also partners with AWS. We talk to them as well, because we have some advanced partnership levels. So we get access to good tech and people who build those tech. So we kind of tap into everything that we have. An ultimate objective is to add value to the customers. And the technology is picking the technology is the process of adding value to the customers.
Great, thanks, Lakshman. Appreciate that. And Ben, as you work with cloud and infrastructure and security, I know that certainly in the security world that changes every single day. So how are we keeping up on that tech?
Yeah, on the tech side, we went through a pretty extensive multi-year assessment initially to kind of figure out what our primary tool sets are going to be. The key there when we did our assessment was making sure that the toolkit could be very flexible. So it's cloud native. There's ability to plug into both on-premise and cloud technology for being able to extract the telemetry needed for monitoring these service points and endpoints, and making sure that we have lots of flexibility. So it's truly deployed in a DevOps type fashion, right? We can do it through pipelines and we have code-based deployments for it. Our goal is to be able to really rapidly deploy and provide the quickest mean time to detection and response. Some of that's going to be through automation, Gene, and some of it's going to be through, if we see a repeated event, we want to make sure that we take a certain type of action to it, right? We want to enrich that data and get those types of responses on the security side that the analyst can make a good decision from. From there, there's tools in place that can help shut off services and disable and protect those endpoints. Those are done through automation as well. So our kind of overall goal was, let's make sure we have a platform that's very flexible. We want to make sure that we have some guardrails in place so that, as we offer this as a managed service, we can't do everything fully unique, but we need to be able to have a platform that can take all of these total different customer environments and just kind of standardize, normalize that information, and then let our analysts make good decisions from there.
Thanks, Ben. Thank you, Murray. Thank you, Lakshman. Really appreciate all three of your times today. Our business started over 15 years ago, and it has continued to see the evolution in technology. So today, we're going to be talking to Santosh and Mike really about the organization and the people. So Santosh, how did you start the company? And what is your vision of where you want the company to be? Where do you see us going?
Thanks, Gene, and hello, everybody. Appreciate y'all taking time and listening to us. Well, a bit of background about me. Was born and brought up here in India. I went to States to do my master's, but ended up pursuing my PhD in applied mathematics. I went to Kansas State. I'm a wildcat from that perspective. I had to unfortunately drop out of school and had to take care of my family. There was some, emergency at that time, so no regrets there. They did everything for me. So in a heartbeat, I dropped out. Got a job in technology sector and fell in love with technology since then. I saw an opportunity to transform or reimagine how digital products are built. Working with a software development company that built a huge ERP for utilities industry in the US, and traveling across the US, I learned that there was a huge gap between what customers were looking for, what was being built, and what really developers were building and delivering. And the inefficiencies were staggering from my perspective. So I saw a huge opportunity in transforming that entire digital product building experience. And that's when the idea of forming ProArch started. And by the way, ProArch stands for Professional Architects. So ProArch, that's where it really comes from. For me, ProArch is really the result of all the ProArchians, the culmination of every ProArchians. Whereas a small team, but our strength is more than just in numbers. Our strength is in our passion. Our strength is in our ways of working. Our strength is in our culture. And kudos to every ProArchian, because we do make a difference. Every one of us from top to bottom has a voice. Everyone celebrates. Everyone feels very proud. We take our ProArchians extremely seriously. What we call as 4 pillars of ProArch is our people, our clients, our partners. For example, we are a really great partner of Microsoft. And then last but not least, our communities. So we are socially extremely active. We make it a point to take our social responsibility very seriously. As part of that, we have a number of initiatives. One such initiative is a foundation that we run in India. And we can talk about that, some other time, or you all are more than welcome to go look it up online. For me, ProArch drives on innovation. ProArch drives on its people and our power to continue to deliver value. As I said, we work with large customers, and and for a company like ours, it's possible only because we deliver value. We deliver value at times that even big conglomerates cannot deliver. So because we're nimble, and because every ProArchian has a say, we're much more agile in our approach. We're much more lucrative in terms of how we think and act and deliver. That's our strength. Our people really are our strength, and we take, when as Murray said, we have our global delivery network, right? We have our delivery teams across all geos, wherever we are, US, UK. We even have a satellite office in Ukraine and in India. And we leverage our global delivery network very well. And many ProArchians grew with us, some left us, but they all are in amazing positions. I must say, we have people who are authors of many books, people who've made significant difference to the society, and we encourage entrepreneurship from inside out. We'll talk about that in a bit. So from every perspective, and of course, most from India, again, grew in their respective positions. Some became data scientists. By the way, we also have several patents in the areas of data science. And all of this is possible because we really encourage, innovation. We encourage research. We value that because that's how we can deliver value. So, Mike, over to you, Gene.
Thanks. Thank you, Santosh. So, yeah, I just want to, first of all, echo some of the things that you said about the ProArchians, across the globe. We have really amazing people that make a difference every single day with our customers. And, there's constant innovation happening. It's a really creative environment. You heard from Lakshman and from Ben and from Murray. I mean, these three fellows are, truly amazing folks. Their creativity has just instilled, a great deal of energy into the organization, as do all ProArchians across every single geo that we operate. Just a quick background on me. I've been in this business for a few more years than Santosh. I was the CIO for a couple of companies, and then I started my own company with a couple of partners, and 20 years later, I made a decision to join ProArch, and I've never looked back. It's been an amazing ride, and I'm so happy that we did that. And I think the people at ProArch that came along with me have really been enjoying the benefits of working in an organization that is so forward-thinking and so innovative. One of the things that, if you think about, your careers, and I know we're going to be spending time a little later on and talking about careers, but I can't emphasize enough the value of taking advantage of all the things that a company like ProArch can provide to you, whether it be in technology, whether it be in human resources, whether it be in sales, whether it be in some sort of an operational role. All these people are highly motivated, highly committed in order to make the best possible environment for our people to thrive and for our clients to see great value from our company. And I'm going to sound like a broken record for just a moment, because it is client value that means everything to us. Without our clients, without our employees, without our staff, we're nothing. We don't have lots of buildings. We don't have lots of manufacturing plants. We have people. And our greatest asset are the people that work with us and the people that we serve every single day. And I think that if you're in a situation where you believe that you can be highly motivated, highly committed, and really, create a great deal of self-energized growth, both personally, professionally, and working with your peers and with your clients, this is the place for you. But understand that this is a place where we make things that can be hard simple. You have to work at it. It takes a great deal of effort to change complexity into something that is a solution. And here, we're all about the solutions that we can bring to our clients.
Thank you, Mike. Really appreciate that. And Santosh, you as well. Really appreciate the time that both of you took this afternoon. So let's talk about the real reason we're here today. This is all about the students here. And I'm sure all of you are thinking to yourselves, all right, so how do I fit into ProArch? How would I start my career at an organization like ProArch? So let's now talk to Ben, Aaron, Jazz, Sai, and Brian, who all take kind of a different view of the organization. They are all in charge of a variety of people within the organization, different departments, etc. So speaking to all of you this afternoon, when someone starts their work at ProArch, what should they expect?
I can start off here. I'm Brian Flanagan, Chief People Officer. Again, thank you all for joining, taking time out of your evening. So yeah, what you could expect here from a people team perspective, especially, is a seamless and guided onboarding experience from us, our people team, which is HR, IT, and the team that you're joining, the management team you're joining. You'll be assigned a buddy, a mentor, so you'll have a really well-guided experience to come into the organization. There'll be a lot of clarity of the communication across the board. There'll be that ongoing guidance from your manager, from mentors, from people team, for especially around your learning and development and career pathing, which I think we'll talk about in a minute here. But from a personal perspective, expect that the people team is here for you. So very often I hear, hey, people team or HRs and they're for the management. We are here for you. So if you ever have issues, if you ever need guidance, if you ever have something you don't feel is going well, that's what my team's here for, and I'm here for. So it's also strange to say, but we're here to grow your CV, right? So we advance you. We allow you new skills. We allow you certifications. We believe this is the right thing to do, and it'll advance your CV, hopefully within ProArch, to stay at ProArch, because this is the right thing. You got to advance your career. But we're going to have a lot of opportunity for you here at ProArch as well. So I'll let others speak.
Yeah, so thanks everyone for taking your time and joining this session. So I am Sai. I head the cloud division of the delivery. I take care of the global delivery of our clients. So to answering to what Ben has added over, it's basically here we build careers. It's not that ProArch doesn't give jobs, but it builds careers. So if you have that aspiration of building careers in data, AI, cloud infra, compliance and security, then I believe this is the organization. If you have the zeal, enthusiasm of building a career, then I'm sure ProArch would be the right place. Because this is a place where we constantly strive for employees' growth, their education, their trainings that we conduct with in coordination with Microsoft Teams, or the internal cross trainings that we engage our employees or the team members. It's really that's a zeal that we try to create for our own employees, so that they stay with ProArch for their long careers and their fruitful careers. Thank you.
Thanks. So, when someone starts here at ProArch, what kinds of expectations do you set for the employees that are working for you? Ben, maybe you could talk a little bit to expectations as you're working with your folks. What do you set for them?
Yeah, some of the characteristics I really look for, especially even before hiring, is organization. The job is demanding here, right? We're delivering solutions to customers that are paying a price. It's not like a internal IT position someplace where you have loose deadlines around things, right? We have pretty firm deadlines that we're looking to accomplish, right, in everything that we're doing, and trying to meet those expectations in those times. So that typically leads to someone who's very well organized and can plan out how this is going to be done. We have project management, we have so program managers for managing the delivery of these services, but it still comes down to the individual responsibility. So certainly that is key. Also, learning, you have to have a lifelong passion for learning here. There's always going to be something new. There's always going to be something that you don't know that you'll be ended up being tasked with at some point, right? So how do you know? How do you learn best is important to understand, and being able to be self-motivated to add some of those pieces yourself, right? This company and the organization, ProArch, will support you. We have extensive learning and educational programs, but at the end of the day, it all stops with the ProArchian themselves, that they need to be really motivated to be able to learn new things and work with our customers in those opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the other thing that probably is a key to all of the people working at ProArch is communication, right? We all have to communicate. That's so critical in what we do. And it's critical in anything, right? Any sort of a relationship, whether it's work, home, or otherwise. And so we are constantly telling folks that 90% of issues that come up are really due to communication. It's not due to tech. It's not due to anyone not knowing how to do their job. It's really about communication. So that's super, super critical. So Aaron heads up our security team, and he's done a tremendous job in developing our SOC. And so Aaron, tell us a little bit about, as you bring on new folks into your organization and you start to train them up, what kind of expectations do you set for them? And you're muted at the moment, so I just want to make sure thanks.
Thank you, Jean. Well, a very good evening to the folks over there in IIT campus. I hope you all are doing great and safe and healthy during the pandemic. I really appreciate for your time taking to attend this live session. Well, it's been 2 years that I've been with ProArch. I'm currently a cybersecurity architect and cybersecurity operations manager, leading and heading the cybersecurity practice from India perspective. Before I jump into the technical part, I must say that ProArch is truly a people company, and it doesn't just provide a job. In fact, it provides career, which would nurture your skills, transform you as a professional, as well as from an individual perspective. So learning and development is another part that ProArch provides. The learning, training, the curriculums that we have got from the day one and throughout the journey is tremendous. The support is awesome, not only just from the core technical team, but also from other supporting functions as well. Now, coming back to my department, which is cybersecurity practice, we have multiple subdomains within cybersecurity practices. SOC is one, Security Operations Center. This is the first line of defense that we have to ensure that our clients are protected. We monitor them, we detect them real-time mode, and provide proactive detection capabilities round the clock, 24/7, 365 days, non-stop. That's an awesome and exciting role that we all are playing round the clock. Apart from SOC, we do have incident response capabilities. We do have pen test, which is on the offensive side. We do have threat hunting, threat intelligence, governance, risk and compliance services. So overall, it is the 360-degree approach of cybersecurity services that we have got in our portfolio. And the people will get a cross-functional skills. It's not just limited to one particular subdomain within cybersecurity. In fact, people with their skills, with the interest, they can participate, they can get involved, and they can collaborate themselves for multiple security engagements that we have. Now, now coming back to the expectation, yes, I would 100% agree with Gene that communication is key. Since we are like a customer-facing role, we have to collaborate, we have to interact with our clients globally. So communication is very key. Maybe you can take it as a part of email communication, or say just pick up the phone and say, hey, this is what we have noticed and seems to be kind of a suspicious alert from a security standpoint. So you have to communicate. You have to communicate. I mean, communication is key. It is an integral part of any business. The communication is important, that we are expecting, or that we expect from our candidate perspective. And the key fundamentals from networking, server side, programming side, especially on the scripting languages, like if you know Perl, Python, well, that would be awesome, And if you know some other programming languages, well, that would definitely be an added advantage. And if you know cybersecurity, well, what we can ask further? So that's it. But as I mentioned, the learning and development, the training program that we have in ProArch, we ensure that whenever we onboard any resource, we ensure that we help them to groom, to mentor them, not only from a technical standpoint, but also from an interpersonal skills level as well.
Great. Thank you so much, Aaron. Really appreciate that.
Thank you, Jane.
And I appreciate everyone's perspective here on the tech side. We really do focus on the progress, and there's folks here who have progressed their careers through the organization. There are people who came from the Help Center who've progressed through the organization into engineering, some application development, and eventually moved into cybersecurity, and started as a cybersecurity analyst and moved to a consultant. We're very fortunate to have those opportunities for folks, and I could probably list off a number of other ones, probably 15 or 20 right off the top of my head, where people have progressed their careers. So that's pretty exciting that we're able to do that and really feed people's passions. So thank you again, everyone, for joining and talking about that. I really want to talk a little bit about how ProArch has grown and how we really value the contributions from everyone's innovation in the company. And it comes in a variety of different ways. So I'm going to transition over to both Santosh and Venkat to talk a little bit about our innovation and what we do. So we inspire that entrepreneurial spirit here. So both Venkat and Santosh, if you could talk a little bit about some of the successes that we've seen come from the ProArch innovation ideas. I know that we have a number of examples of that. Santosh, do you want to start off with how we've done that and some of the things that have come out of it?
Sorry, I was on mute. Sure, Jane. So we encourage ideas. We encourage entrepreneurial nature. I can cite many examples, but a few specific and successful ones is we incubated an idea that would have a profound effect on the sustainability, on how the food brands consume, or food brands are consumed, essentially creating an eco label that will easily show to consumers that when you buy a product, you know what kind of eco sustainability practices the entire supply chain of that product has used. There is a labeling mechanism. There is an analysis behind the scenes. There's a lot of technology and analysis. We actually worked with Oxford scientists and in conjunction with WWF to come up with the tech to create these algorithms to come up with the so-called eco label. And as a result of that research, result of that analysis is a company called Mondra. So you can look it up. Mondra.com, mondra.com. We're very proud of that practice. It has profound effect on the food brands and improving the sustainability practices. So that's one. The other one, I think Venkat, I'm sure we'll talk about that in a minute, is a startup called Operable that Venkat floated, and it's actually building a health exchange platform. And I'll let him talk more about that. Then there is also a very data AI driven idea called that was incubated again within ProArch and started off as another startup called Telect. Telect uses machine learning algorithms to help product development owners or product owners to actually score and quantify the value of features. Today, when you build a product, it's not easy to quantify the value of all the features that you want to build in the product. So it actually takes all the social conversations across all the platforms, social platforms, or otherwise, collates them, takes all the data, and runs several machine learning algorithms to be able to create a very easy and quantifiable feature list. So again, we have patterns to back up some of the research that goes into that. These are the three examples that were incubated within ProArch, where people came in and say, "Hey, I have an idea," and we actually embrace that idea. We turn them into incubation centers. We kind of mature them, and then once they have enough wings and enough customers, we kind of launch them as their own startups, and then they fly off from there. So that's just a few examples. Venkat, over to you to add to that.
Thanks, Santosh. Actually, I'd like to a brief introduction. I come from a complete healthcare background. I've got a PhD in medical statistics from UK. Of course, I'm from India, and I've left to UK quite a long time ago. And I've been in consulting, strategy consulting within healthcare as well as in other domains for a while. And then, fortunately, I started in ProArch, at early part of this year. And in the start of our conversation with Santosh, right? When people say about being a people's company, it's not easy to kind of relate that to. Probably this example would make you feel how important that is for ProArch and how seriously Santosh takes it. The first thing I told Santosh is, I've got an idea that I'm working on, and I'd like to take a job, but I'd like to continue working on my idea. And he was like, absolutely, do so. And within 6 months, here you go. ProArch is invested in Operable, and we are on a really serious growth phase. Okay, so that's how much people importance that ProArch gives. Now, secondly, coming back to the product itself, Operable is very much a healthcare IT platform which allows data exchange within the sector. To give you an example, a patient can go to multiple hospitals. And in order to absorb the data from different hospitals into one system, it is a major problem. Just to give you the complexity of the problem, there are about 100,000 hospitals. Every one of them have a different, I'm talking about the US here. Every one of them have a different database, and none of them talk to each other. Okay, it's basically 100,000 by 100,000 matrix problem, and at a multiple different levels. We fixed that problem literally because our solution with AI enabling them to auto-integrate all this data over 80% straight away. And that's, it's basically born out of ProArch's investment. So there you go.
Thanks, Venkat. We really appreciate that. Those are just some of the examples that some of the great people here are putting their effort towards, and more and more every day. We are coming to the end of our session, and I wanted to make sure that there was time for questions. Let's just go over and see if we have any questions in our lobby. And if you have any, please use the Q&A section on your screen. We'd love to hear from you. I know some of you submitted questions earlier, and I'm hoping that we have addressed all of those already for you. But if not, absolutely make sure that that you submit them. So let's see. Can I work from my native home? There are lots of folks who want to be able to work from their native home, and we absolutely have people working all over the country and actually all over the world. So we have people who are working in their homes in Spain. We have people working from their homes all over the US, the UK, here in India. So the answer to that is yes, it's definitely a hybrid environment. We do encourage people to come to the office because it's a great collaboration space. We actually ran several sessions where folks could come to the office and get vaccinated, and they and their families actually. So that was nice. So now that all of our team members are vaccinated, so they can come to the office and be safe doing so. It is, I know that there have been some posts here. Santosh has posted links to each of the areas that the entrepreneurship that he had mentioned and Venkat had mentioned, so you can take a look at those. You don't have a laptop. Absolutely, you don't have to buy one. We supply equipment to all of our employees, so that is not a problem. There's nothing to worry about there. And for those, there was a question about how do I sign up? Certainly you can go to our website, proarch.com, and we do have a section there for careers. We encourage you to go there. We do have some posted, but we'd also love to just get your resumes because we are always looking for the opportunities to hire and train. Yes, data engineer is the role that's offered. So what kind of work can a fresher work on in the first 2 years? Marie, do you want to take that question? We have lots of opportunities for data engineers, data scientists, and the projects that we have that we're working on. Often you'd be working with a mentor on those initially, but Marie, do you want to give some samples of some of the projects that we have?
Yeah, so we've actually, I think we've got a nice array of projects at the moment. So we do some grassroots stuff where internally for ProArch, we do some research and development where we look into new technologies. We're primarily a Microsoft partner, and they're always coming up with fancy new things to add to our basket of tricks. And we need to learn to understand that. So, you know, we start from scratch on some of these technologies, learning them and getting up to speed. Internally, as an organization, ProArch is starting to make more and more use of our own data. So actually, I think the word is, or phrase is, eat our own dog food. We have people that are busy building up insights for ourselves based on our own data. And that's a great little incubator in place for new people to get involved. You know, it's under our control. We understand the data very well and we can shape it. And as we progress up, you know, we've got some really senior, strong data engineers and data architects, and what we try and do is we try and pair them up with more junior people, so that you know, number one, the fresher employees don't get stuck or don't struggle for ideas. They're always well supported, and by pairing them up and having them work together on projects, that really helps take them along the journey. Not only from a technology perspective, but also on the process and some of the softer skills that are actually really important in software development, how to speak to customers, how to understand their requirements, how to understand what it's going to take to complete a piece of work to make sure that both the customer is happy and we've done it to a high standard. And as we move up, then we kind of start to work with some of our other customers that, you know, are bringing gigabytes, maybe even terabytes into into cloud-based data lakes, and we're running large-scale data analytics on that, which is super excited and super frustrating at the same time. Particularly if you've got long-running algorithms, sometimes they may take 12 to 24 hours to complete. And if you get it wrong, then it's another day before you can even see the results of some of the larger jobs. So in those types of scenarios, we really try and make sure that our mid-level to senior guys are involved. And then when it comes to dealing with new customers and trying to understand how we fit data into the organization, that's kind of an architect level where we go in and we can help them shape how Microsoft's technology either fits into their Microsoft ecosystem or how technology fits into an existing ecosystem that might be AWS or Google or traditional on-prem. So that kind of gives a range of different type of roles and levels and some of the work we do.
Thanks very much, Murray. Appreciate that. All right, do we have any other? We do have a few more questions here. For machine learning analytics projects, are there any areas that ProArch chooses to work specifically? Murray, I'll turn that over to you as well, if I could.
Yeah, sure. So I'll keep this answer quite short. For analytics, we would really like to dictate the areas we get involved in. However, it really depends what the customer is interested in. Primarily from early conversations, our two verticals are manufacturing, logistics, supply chain, as well as energy, utilities, distribution, generation, transmission, power plants, producers, etc. So those are kind of the two core verticals we get involved in, and then we get involved in natural language processing, linear regression, predictive analytics, prescriptive analytics, all the different buckets of AI are pretty much covered off.
What will be the assessment pattern? And I'm not sure if that's detailed enough, Murray, for you to answer. If there's something specific that might want to be addressed there, maybe there could be more detail on that question.
Assessment pattern for?
I think for selection, I believe, for the interview process.
Great.
I can still take a first stab of that. I look for three things in any person that's joining ProArch. One is their technical skills. They need to be able to not necessarily know everything, but they need to be able to demonstrate a really strong ability to learn and take on new concepts. So not all of our interviewing is straight on technical questions. Some of it is scenario based, and it's how you think through that scenario. That's probably an algorithmic kind of approach. That's probably a bit more important than actual nuts and bolts tech, which tends to change quite often. The second is communication and collaboration skills. How do they work within peers and other people? What's the communication style, presentation style? And then the last, there's we call it attitude and aptitude. So aptitude is your technical ability to do something, and attitude is your way of working, how proactive you are, how motivated you are to really further your career. So I think those are the three things I'll look after, but I'll hand it over to anyone else who wants to add.
Thanks, Mary. I think that's a great synopsis, actually. Really encompasses most of what we look for. Let's see. We have someone who is interested in cybersecurity. So the question is, what kind of background do I need to have if I'm interested in going that direction? Aaron, do you mind speaking to that? Aaron, Ben, maybe?
Yeah, sure, Jean. Thank you. So, like a few minutes back, as I mentioned, I would just reiterate it that we need communication, which is a key and essential requirement. And we expect basics of networking, like networking concepts like TCP, IP, and other concepts. The basics of networking, basics of server-side knowledge, like, for example, what is DNS, what is WINS, how DHCP works, what is domain controller, what is Active Directory, and all other associated concepts related to server-side technology. And if, as I mentioned earlier as well, that scripting language is an advantage. The reason why we need scripting language, because ProArch, not just only cybersecurity, but eventually the ProArch is, as we are all aware, we are working towards automation. We are working towards increasing the efficiency. We are working towards to reduce the human intervention, the elements where it takes a lot of effort and time to make things work, or so that's the only thing with the help of scripting languages where we can automate and orchestrate as well. So scripting language is an essential requirement, and down the line it would help as well, for security, for cybersecurity practices. And from cybersecurity as a topic as well, the basic understanding examples would be like, what is CIA triad? For example, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. What is cybersecurity? What are the different subdomains within cybersecurity, and so on.
Great, thank you, Aaron. That's really helpful. Hopefully that answers that question for cybersecurity background. And there's lots and lots of training that comes along with that. So oftentimes folks come in with certain training in cybersecurity. They have a little bit of background, but that's constant training because that's changing every single day. So last question, I think, before there might be two more questions before we leave you here today. But when it comes to data engineering, does ProArch have their own in-house data pipeline, or do engineers mainly focus on orchestrating various standard industry solutions for data management, streaming, etc.? Murray, do you want to take that on?
Yeah, sure. So again, being a Microsoft shop, we primarily use Azure Data Factory and Azure Synapse pipelines. Those are kind of our two primary ways of orchestrating things, scheduling things, and triggering things to happen on the data pipeline. Sometimes in some complex scenarios, we'll use Python to schedule and script and run jobs. So almost like a code-based procedural version or functional version. And then the last way that we do our data pipelines is sometimes we work with organizations that have very tight security controls and restrictions, and the cloud-based data processing tools all originate from quite a wide IP range. And once in a while, we'll get a customer that will tell us, well, you have to give us a fixed IP address so we can whitelist you on the firewall. And to do that, we've got a framework that we've built in C# that sits in Microsoft's serverless Azure Functions ecosystem, and that provides access through a network security group with a fixed IP address so that we can get to some of these more trickier systems that are locked down. So those are kind of the 3 or 4 different ways we get to data in order to bring it in. Once it's into our ecosystem, we often land it in a data lake, and from the data lake we run sort of compute. That's either through Data Factory or Azure Synapse pipelines, or through Azure Synapse itself, or through something like Databricks, which is a kind of a layer on top of Spark, and we use that to process it through a taxonomy into our data lake, into a data model, and then from the data model into a data visualization like Power BI or Tableau or something like that. Preference for Power BI, again, from our Microsoft Salon.
Thanks, Murray. One last question for you, Murray. I know that you'll be very involved in the interviewing process. What concepts, besides the usual algorithms, data structures, etc., are you going to be testing?
I hear the question, but I'm going to answer it slightly different.
Okay.
The biggest skill, or the skill that we really need to find at the moment, and we struggle to, is to find people with data modeling experience. So understanding Kimball, understanding facts and dimensions. It's great to have the technical skills and some Python coding skills to back that up, to actually wrangle the data. but to be able to understand how data arrives at a data platform and where it needs to end up are kind of two different views. Data arriving is normally sliced and stored by the system it's coming from. So if you're using Salesforce.com, you'll have accounts and opportunities. If you're using Xero, you'll have your balance sheet and your financial projection and your budget numbers. You might want to bring those two data sources together to give a picture to the organization, but the actual customer at the end might be someone from marketing, or it might be someone from sales, or might be someone from the finance team, and they've all got different ideas on what that data looks like. So there's a business domain on the other side that doesn't really care about what the data looks like arriving from all these different systems. They care about getting the insights that are going to help them to make their business either more profitable or reduce costs or be more efficient. And that kind of process of understanding the input data, understanding and being able to model what the customer needs to see from the domain perspective, that piece is the most difficult. So above all, we'll be looking for some tech skills, ability and understanding of orchestration, fundamentals of understanding SQL and how, because SQL still, whether it's on top of big data platforms or not, select, join, aggregate, average, min, max, cross apply, cross join, all those kind of things still apply. So fundamental SQL skills, some fundamental coding skills around Python, some understanding of Microsoft's reference architecture for a data platform. It's available out there. You can go and Google on their site. A good understanding of that, and anyone who can demonstrate a good understanding of how to do data modeling, those are the key things I'll be looking for.
Thanks, Murray. That's excellent. That's a great synopsis. So that wraps up our session. Thank you so much for staying a little bit longer than we anticipated today. We really appreciate your time this evening. We hope that it has been a valuable hour plus for you. I know it has been for us. We really look forward to speaking with all of you, and hopefully some of you can become our future ProArchians. Have a great evening, and we'll talk to you all very soon.